Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today. My name is Dominic Essien, and I will be your moderator for today. The topic for this panel's discussion is pretty much the same as we had last week, which is the Nigerian gaming industry, the opportunities and practices, and your challenges you face in the industry. So today we have three individuals joining us, three talented individuals in the gaming industry, and I would give you this opportunity to introduce yourself and what you do, just a brief background of the job you do, and just tell us about yourself. Anyone can start. Or,
okay.
Paul, do you want to go first?
Go ahead, Casey.
Okay.
Okay. Are you sure? Okay. Hi everyone. Thank you, Dominic. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
My name is Casey, and I'm a board game designer and the creative director of NIBCARD Games. NIBCARD Games is a designing, publishing, and manufacturing company in Nigeria. So basically, we make tabletop games, Ludo, those kind of games, card games, miniature games, and all of that. And then I also run a board game cafe in Abuja, and as well as started the African Board Game Convention in 2016. So basically everything is about promoting the tabletop gaming industry in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much. Paul, you can go next if that's
okay. Hello everyone, my name is Paul. I'm a mobile game designer and more recently a gamification consultant. So what we do is I have a partnership since like 2012 called Abuki Shop, where we make mobile games for both 3D and 2D mobile games. And then I also help to design games, and I'm an engagement consultant, so to speak. Currently, I work as an agile project manager. We build software as a consultant for some enterprise companies. But I'm an ardent gamer. I've been playing games since like maybe Street Fighter 2 Turbo or something on Nintendo. Yeah, so it's something I do in my spare time. At some point, I was working full-time as an entrepreneur game designer, and I probably will go back to that. But right now, I consult for other people. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. Shina?
I guess I can go next, yeah?
Yes.
Hi. So hi everyone. My name is Shina Memud in full. I'm the founder of Doing Soon. Doing Soon is an experiential and marketing agency here in Lagos. And on the side, obviously, I created Lagos Games Festival, also using our company to sort of manage the whole experience. And fundamentally, since we focus on experience and marketing, the major factor of why we picked the gaming sector is mainly the sort of interest, personally in my background in the gaming industry, and as well as to create business opportunity for the gaming industry, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so as we can all see, everyone here is pretty much quite experienced in the industry, and the focus here is Nigeria. Well, we all work in Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken, and doing business in Nigeria is always a challenge. And I'm sure everyone has like a story to tell, and we would like if you share that experience with us, like how difficult is it to conduct business? What are the challenges you faced, and how did you get about solving those challenges? If you did solve the challenge.
Right. So I think I can go first, but again, maybe just call our name so we just don't mute out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll just go in the order I can see your faces. So Paul, would you like to go first?
It's yeah.
So basically, if I could understand you, you said the challenges I face?
Yes, the challenges you face.
Okay, so as a mobile game developer, as we know, games consist of so many different parts, yeah? So usually if you want to go for like quality products, because the game is a product, you most likely will not be able to achieve that on your own. So most of the challenges, aside the obvious financial ones, and it's getting the right resources to collaborate with you. For example, like I said, I'm a game designer. The concept, I build the engagement engine, I build the experience. I'm not, okay, yes, I also work with some engines, but I'm not like a 3D modeler. And when you want to get those kind of resources on your project, it's either you've got to pay top dollar for the best, or you've got to make do with whatever you have. So now, most of the time, I find out that mobile game designers make do with what they have. And at the end of the day, the end product is not as top quality as you want it to be. So yes, one of my challenges is actually getting quality collaboration. Another challenge, actually, I think when we had the magazine interview, I mentioned this. A lot of people are actually out there to, I don't know, there's this what I call the Facebook model, or what people think the Facebook model is, where you take people's ideas and then you refactor it to yours while not giving the person value. So in the game industry, because it's a very small budding industry and has the potential for a lot of value to be gotten, a lot of budding game designers are taken advantage of by bigger companies that want to offer you stuff like maybe internet and constant lights, and at the end of the day you lose your trademark. So obviously the infrastructural challenges like NEPA is a very big issue.
Yes.
When I started making games, to buy data was about 4,000 naira for 1 gig. Yeah. So you can imagine when I have to download assets, I have to upload my APK file, test, rework stuff, and upload again. So the cost of getting your game out was quite high. So because you want to work with the resources you have, you find out that you start compromising on quality. So that the cost of gaming, so to speak, or making games is one of the biggest challenges I have. Another challenge is finding the market to sell your game to. Google Play kind of made it kind of easier to publish your game, but without the requisite marketing, without the right expertise, you kind of suffer. You kind of suffer from maybe spending so much time making a product and then getting like 100 downloads. Now, if you're hoping for a freemium model or Google Ads to be your source of revenue, then that's a big challenge. You won't be able to get that on your own. So I think because Nigeria is still a budding mobile game industry. Yes, I know there are a couple of people out there, but trust me, it's still a budding industry, considering what the value, the financial potential is. These are some of my challenges anyway. Let me not bore you guys with too many. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for your insights. Casey, do you want to go next?
Just to add up a few, just like Paul said, the gaming industry is quite huge. So I'll just come from the aspect of the tabletop games industry. So I'm going to cover card games, board games, role play games, and all. I think for us there are two major challenges: access and awareness. So access to materials to design these games, access to materials to actually make them, so that the costs are reduced. And then access to the games themselves. When you talk about tabletop games, there are probably about 8 games that most people in Nigeria will remember. You know, the regular games that we grew up with, but there are so many games. If I could say, I probably could mention 1 million different games. And then every day there are new games. It's almost like the movie and music industry. There are so many games coming out every day, but we don't have access to these games. And if we try to bring them here, the prices probably triple because of the shipping and all of those. And the second is awareness. So, just like I said, when you tell people there are new games, it's so difficult for that that behavioral change to transfer from the games we met when we came into this world to new games. So it's so difficult, and that's one of the things we see every day in the cafe or in the conventions, and what we're always trying to mitigate. When people come in, they always say, "Do you have Scrabble, or do you have Mancala, or do you have so games?" I'll say, "Oh, yes, we do, but do you want to try these ones? We even have Nigerian games." Also, those are the two major issues when it comes to tabletop games. Access from the conceptualizing of the games, those support, having editors that would help make the rulebooks global, and then having translators, having these materials to even print those games, and so you don't have to make them in China and then go all through the hassle of bringing them back to Nigeria and then selling. If we can get over these two, and of course the normal business challenges of working in Nigeria, those are almost in quotes normal. But if we can is access and the awareness, marked, then we can begin to. It's going to explode.
All right, thank you very much for your contribution. Shina?
Yeah, I think both Casey and Paul they've said fantastic input. So I think I will just elaborate a bit on what Paul said. So I think the major challenge obviously is sort of infrastructure, the business side of it, and then of course how to actually push it out to the market. So I do insist that there is a market in Nigeria, and I'm a strong believer that there is market in Nigeria. So the question is always around how do you design your game to sort of suit the market? And then how do you come up with a pricing model that suits the market? And then of course, the last is how do you actually push the product, which Mr. Paul mentioned, to the market? So again, awareness is no doubt. If people don't know your product, there's no way people are going to sort of come and play those games, which is also one of the reasons why we created Games Festival. So we started with about bringing 20 games together for the first edition. This year, if not for COVID, we're pushing for 50 types of games. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that for next year. The idea is basically how do we give voice or sort of visibility to this gaming industry and give it as much awareness as possible. And then in return as well, see how we can sort of connect them to potential investors and business leaders. The challenges are what I feel personally that it can be overcome. There are solutions to some of those problems, but again, the way to go about it is some sort of visibility. And I think with visibility, more things will start falling in place. So, I mean, to wrap it up on my side, based on your question, I think the problem is really boiled down to what Mr. Paul said: business, visibility, and then designing your product to suit the market.
Okay. Thank you very much for your insights. It's obvious the problems we've all mentioned kind of, border around the same things, which is the market, the awareness, infrastructure is a big issue for, conducting your business in the country. And you've also mentioned, Paul also mentioned resources, right? The resources to work with while you're trying to, create your games. So my question now boils down to, opportunities. What opportunities are there based on what you've mentioned as your challenges? What opportunities exist in the industry for people who are trying to join in, or people who already are in the industry? Like maybe it's not clear to some people. Like, what can you do to help push this industry forward? Paul, do you want to go?
Okay, opportunities. You see, because of how the market is shaped right now, it's like most of the other markets in Nigeria, the retail market, there are a lot of opportunities. It's a very big space. But basically, if you look at it from an indie gaming perspective, because I'll be talking in the context of mobile games, because that's what I know, yeah, that's mobile or console or digital games anyway. Yeah. If you look at it from that perspective, from an indie perspective, it doesn't take much to start up, honestly. First, you have to get the expertise. So thanks to all the online resources, there's Unity and all the documentation, there's Google, YouTube, wherever, because I probably learned how to make games looking at Google documentation. So the opportunity is there. But if we're talking from the context of big enterprise gaming houses or big business gaming, it's not really, if you say you want to work for a gaming house, so to speak, from my experience, it's not really, the opportunities aren't there. The best opportunities are in the indie space right now. until there's some kind of public-private partnership to change things, the best way I see to enter the mobile game industry is through the indie space. If we can learn to collaborate better, if we can find friends of like minds and maybe pool resources together or get the right expertise, then we may be able to create more opportunity for people that want to join. We started as just 2 people, myself and my partner, and most of our games were made by 2 people, except where we lacked some special skill and then we just had to outsource. So, but your intention for coming into the industry itself should inform your opportunities. If you're looking at maybe making one game and getting like 10 million downloads and then you've made it. I mean, if you really want to drive the Lamborghini in the first week, this is not for you. The opportunities are for hard-working people like anywhere else. Honestly, the thing is, when people see the success, it's like it was overnight because nobody looks at your failures. Nobody celebrates the failures, right? But there's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of potential and possibility. Don't let anybody tell you gaming, you can't make it through gaming. It's not true. You just have to have the right intentions and the right skill set. I'm also like into marketing. Like I have an MBA in marketing, right? And most of the biggest opportunities are in the most chaotic markets, right? It's only in Nigeria that someone can just decide to put a phone store or a frozen food selling business in one location and he'll sell, even if he had no prior experience, because there is no structured pipeline to get it from farm to your plate. It's the same thing in the gaming industry. There are a lot of people with mobile phones, right? There are a lot of people with, and then the cost of internet keeps getting cheaper. And really, with the models that most of these new super groups like Google have, you really don't have to take the product yourself to the market. You just have to shape your product to suit the market. They are the ones that are going to sell it for you, so to speak. For example, what I mean is, when I make a game, I can put spaces for a banner ad, or with the new engagement models where you can put rewards for people watching your adverts. You just have to get the engagement. People must need the coins, or people must need the next level so that they just want to watch your advert and then get the reward. You give them the rewards to play the games, you get the reward for playing the advert that Google gets paid for. So the opportunity is there. All you need is a very good product. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Casey, would you like to?
As usual, it's come from the tabletop games perspective.
Yes, definitely.
I think the opportunity is massive. I resigned from a hyper to be a full-time board game designer and creator. It's massive, and it's an industry that could take in a lot of talent, a lot of skills, and you don't necessarily have to be a designer. So I keep making reference to the music industry or the movie industry. So someone writes a script, right? But that particular script brings a lot of actors, crew members, and even post-production. Cinemas start making money off that same script. And then YouTubers, bloggers, there are so many people. That's exactly how a game is. Now, someone could design just one game, but that one game can create jobs for so many people. An editor could just come and say, "Oh, you know what? Can I edit this game for you and you pay me so amount? Or can I translate it to another language so that it can even meet a huge market?" Yeah. And graphic designers and even tech guys, people keep saying, "How do you put these games on mobile or PCs?" And I'm like, "Hey, this is tabletop games. This is not PC. This is not mobile. How do we bring in technology to tabletop games? Websites like Tabletopia, tabletop simulators. You could create your game virtually, and then anyone, anywhere could still play with you, but on a table. You could still flip the card, you could still roll the dice, and you see all of those things in 3D, and it's amazing. And there's the mobile side of it as well. And then the opportunities are just crazy. There are how to play video. You don't necessarily have to be a designer, but you can earn from the industry. If you like creating events, you could just get a few games and you start your own game night and you start charging people. But that's just from one game that someone somewhere created. So it's something that we need, and it could help a lot. And that's why we always maintain making the games in Nigeria, because a lot of people earn from the fact that we produce games in Nigeria without even knowing what it's about. You know, we go to print and what is this? How do you, but they are earning from it. But we are indoors being the one creating the stuff. So it's a massive opportunity that welcomes anyone that is ready to work, anyone that is ready to work.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Casey, for that. And also thank you for the idea, pointing out that tabletop games don't have to be played on the table. They could also be digital.
Just check out Tabletopia, Tabletop Stimulator, Board Game Arena. You just see it's 3D. And it's like, I have no coding background, but I've created one of our games by myself on Tabletopia. And I learned it from watching just 3 videos. You know, and the highest minute is about 12 minutes. So once you watch that video, you can create. And it's a service you can even render to now other designers that don't like, you know, pressing computers. Like, do you want us to put it on? It's a massive opportunity.
Thank you so much, Casey. Shina, would you like to go? Shina, are you with us? I think Shina might be having some connection problems. Okay, so before till Shina gets back, so would you like to give us like an insight into what your daily routines are like? Like, what's the day in the life of a game designer, a game developer like you? What do you do for people who are interested in knowing stuff like that? Before you go on, sorry. Okay, Shina is back.
Yeah, sorry, I had a bit of internet. I don't know where it came from, but I'm here anyways. Okay. Yeah, so the both input also again very, very insightful. Personally, to be honest with you, it's not like just like Paul said. Personally, for me, I'm not a 3D designer or Unity game developer or in any way. I'm always looking at it from the business side. So again, Casey mentioned an input to say you can focus on any part of the gaming industry. You can even be a streamer, right? So you can be streaming videos for people, and that can even become a huge revenue, right? People are cashing out from YouTube. So what are you doing in that case? You are just a game promoter. I wouldn't say that is also what we intend to do, but the fundamental idea is how can we give voice and visibility to the gaming industry in Nigeria, which is obviously why we created Lagos Games Festival. So it depends on your passion, your desire, and of course your background, your expertise. Use that to your advantage to find a sector to focus in. And then again, we are talking to few investors, for instance, that are very, very much interested in investing in games, right? So again, those are a different type of should I say how you can earn, right? Because if they invest in those games, it becomes some sort of either equity or whatsoever, and a long time sort of investment plan, right? So again, it's really boils down to your personal desire, expertise, and interest. Pick that, and then of course the way we shine. Personally, for me, I think promoting and marketing the game has a huge challenge because there are a lot of games and they need a voice.
Thank you very much. Okay, so for those joining us, the Q&A section is open, so feel free to ask any of our panelists any questions you would like them to answer. And yeah, so earlier I mentioned we would like to know, how your day-to-day goes. Like, what's the day in the life of a game developer? What do you do? How do you do it? Please, Shina, you can go this time. You can start first.
Okay. Well, I'm not a game developer, so I don't have a daily routine in the gaming. So I think personally, what I usually do when it comes to the gaming side, of course, I do play games, no doubt. I play games quite often, like twice a week, I would say. But my own curiosity generally in the gaming industry is research, seeing where the opportunities are. Trying to understand what is missing, what we can do better, and of course, see how obviously to to pick a game and see. I have a personal interest in esport now, so I've been following it quite intensively. And yeah, I think that's pretty much what I do. Survey, look around, and see where the opportunities are.
Okay, thank you. Casey?
I think it doesn't usually go this way, but on an average, I think most of the things I do is I have this morning ritual. Once I wake up, there are some things I do. So apart from some things I do, I'll just probably start from, I end that ritual with making posts on all our social media hangouts, because this is just my opinion, and maybe because of my circumstance and the industry, I don't believe in, working in silence and then one day it just boom, people now see your blow. And to be honest, I'm not so sure of a believer of jinxing something, because you've posted it or you've talked about it, you don't do that. So I usually try to share ideas, and I love how social media brings back memories. When they say this is what we plan to do and we're going to achieve it, and then years later we've done that and we'll have new goals. So I end that ritual with posting on all social media so that people see that it's possible. And because I don't know who is reading at that particular time. So it could be a new prototype, could be how to play. And if you even check, you see the story from 2015, you see us play on the street and hoping that one day we'll have our own cafe. And then today we're now posting about those cafes and start posting new stuff. Then I love to play games a lot by myself. I love to play it in my head so that, it sounds narcissistic, but KC1, KC2, KC3, KC4, KC5. And sometimes I'm mixing one game and another game together, and it's beautiful. So then if I've sat down, I can sit down in a place for hours. I can sit down in a particular place for up to 6 hours, 7 hours even, just sitting and with my laptop, piece of papers. There's no one notebook, so once you see it, the whole place is just piece of papers. Probably take a walk some days. I'll just be trekking up. And people will be like, who is this that guy that is always trekking up? And I just come back. Then in the night, I try to be very formal because there are lots of paperwork, the business side of things. I hate. No, I'm not saying that out loud on live TV. We have to respond to mails, their invoices, and then all of those stuff. Yeah. And then repeat. Some days I crash. I say I'm not doing again. I just crash. I will not rest.
Take a break from it.
I think basically that's how it goes.
All right. Paul, you can.
All right, thank you. Routine, I really don't have a routine, but when I have a project I'm working on, it depends. Yeah, I might wake up in the morning and the first thing I do, I reach out for my phone and I play a game on my phone, mobile games, something to do with something that's engaging, right? Maybe for an hour, for two, and then I stop and then I start to look around, because at the end of the day, everything technology is a virtualization of the real life, right? The same problems, or when you want to engage people, you engage them with issues they can relate to. So I try to look at real life and pick up one or two lessons or opportunities for engagement. For example, if I want to make a game and I already have the storyline, I might look at something in the news or something on another game that just flips a switch. I really don't have one process. It depends on the game I'm making. If I'm making a platformer, there are some kind of things I'll see in real life and I might just scribble down, because if I don't write down, I forget. I don't know if you've ever had this experience of where you have a good idea, but you have nothing to write on, and then you make a mental note. But when you find the piece of paper, you can't write anything. It's gone. So usually I try to write down or take a picture, or I discuss with, okay, then when I'm done with that, I call my friend, Slim, my partner, and we bounce ideas. We discuss on how to make things more experiential, more engaging, and then we get to work. There are some days, why I say I don't have a routine is there are some days where I do nothing. absolutely nothing. It's very important to have those days. You can't just try to pack in activities into every single day, because sometimes you're most productive when you do nothing. It sounds ironic, but that's how it is for me. I don't know. I could work on a game on the first day of the week, Monday, and do nothing till Sunday. There's no laid down process. It depends on the idea, it depends on the inspiration at every given time. Usually, when I have a product, that's when I look at social media, how to get it out there, how to test it among my friends first. Or, well, not my friends, because if you test your games with your friends, you probably will not get good feedback. So you have to look for people that are not biased towards your product.
Yeah.
And then I do a lot of iterations. When I have a game, I push it out, I test it myself, but obviously that's a very poor way to test, because you have a blind spot. You created the game. You know everywhere there is a trap door or an extra life. So I give it to other people to look at. I try to find the sound, because I find out most times people focus on the visual, but there's a lot that you can't see in a game that makes a big part of the game. I try to build the world, but like I said, there's no process for a day-to-day. If you have a day-to-day process for a game, you probably will come out with a very rigid endpoint. I'm talking about mobile game. If you say, oh, today I'm going to create 3 characters and then I'm going to work on one stage each day, you probably are going to have the same stage but different graphics. And it's really not. So, I mean, you should be open to inspiration regardless of what your routine is. That's what I'm trying to say.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's obvious that there are a lot of opportunities in the gaming industries, as you've all mentioned. You don't have to be a developer. There's a marketing area, like Shina said. There's researching. There's a lot that can be done, and the tabletop games as well. There's opportunities for more resources to come in. You don't necessarily have to have experience making games. The sounds. I'm sure you need like voice artists and other individuals to come in and make contributions. So yeah, thank you very much for this. So we have a question in the Q&A. Someone's asking, on the issue of opportunities available in the gaming industry, how are persons of like minds synergizing to actualize these opportunities? So Casey, you can go this time since you're always second.
Okay. I think I think there is this word social entrepreneurship, social capitalism rather, where last generation has been doing that as trade by barter. Social capitalism, where people could come in together with what you have and bring up something. That's one thing we should promote a lot in this industry. That was one of the reasons why we started the convention, so that people that are interested, could come to the convention. And in the past, illustrators that I met in conventions have ended up designing some of our board games. So for like instance, at the Abuja game, the Abuja Comic Convention, the Lagos Comic Convention, those are conventions I've attended. And once I attend, I try to look out for collaborations. So, people that could, once I see the tabletop game concept, so that it's easier once you start communicating via phone or gadgets and all. So I think collaboration is a very, very important thing that has to be preached. But what we should focus on are those.
I think you might be breaking off for a bit.
That brings like-minded people together. So game nights, organizations, attend the one last year. Hopefully, people being willing from one person, because that's social capitalism is about. If people come in to get the most burden, or especially the financial burden, so if everyone creates together, then everyone shares the profits or the rewards together.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Obviously, there should be more collaboration for us to be able to push it forward. Paul, would you like to go?
Yes, please. How are persons of like mind synergizing to actualize this opportunity? Okay,
Yeah.
so basically, I've been to a couple of hackathons. Yeah?
Yeah.
I've been to a couple of hackathons, and from experience, those are really the places I see people of like minds in the same space, at least not virtually. I'm sure there are a lot of virtual groups on social media, Facebook, even on WhatsApp, where people of like minds collaborate. Now, in all honesty, there are a lot of groups like that that I've just seen people join and then nothing really happens. Or then there's function creep where the groups are being used for some other thing like posting memes or other conversations. So that's why I would say hackathons are really the place to be. Game jams. While I've not been to one in a while, I know that that's where a lot of people come together. But I noticed again that at these game jams, most times people are trying to show ability, right? Which is not a bad thing, but it's ability over collaboration. It's more like, oh, this is what I'm doing. I'm the one, I made the first 3D mobile game. There's no one like me. I think we are taking the wrong approaches to these kind of things. The idea of a game jam or a hackathon is to come together, pool your resources, and come up with a new product or partnership or a promise of something for the future. So while we have the activities in place, I think the intentions of these activities should be made known way before time. We're not coming to look for the best game developer in a hackathon. We're not coming to look for who is the best modeler. Yes, you do this, but how can you work well in a team? What value can you take beyond this 24 hours or 48 hours? It's not about winning the hackathon prize. That's where I see there's a mistake sometimes. People put prizes and then we all go together competing for that prize, not really trying to look at the big picture, which is after this competition, what next?
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're doing right. We're going for game jams and hackathons. We just have to be more effective.
Thank you very much. And Shina.
Yeah, so for anyone who is sort of interested in joining or sort of with some sort of passion in the industry, I think personally the best way to start is do some sort of research around the industry or the sector or sort of the particular vertical you feel like you're more strongly interested in. So personally, for instance, the way I met You Think You're a Nigerian, this game, which by the way is one of the most fascinating game ever. Yeah, because I lost everything.
Casey is holding it up right now.
I lost everything. I mean, I missed every question they asked. Yeah, and I think I found out about them from Let's Mix and Game. She does this Akubana I think every second of the month or last of the month. I can't remember. So again, these are the sort of channels of how you can meet similar people in probably the industry or the sort of particular game you're interested in. For that particular gathering, for instance, they had combinations of different type of games. So from board games to some sort of digital games as well. So I think these are the sort of community I feel is the best way to not only sort of see it, let's say just via Instagram, but actually meet some of the founders physically and then share your thoughts. So they might have, let's say, opportunity for an intern or even a designer or etc. But yeah, I think that's the best way to start.
Okay, thank you very much. We also have another question here. It says, what do investors need to know about the local gaming industry and why should they invest in it? So, Paul, would you like to go for this?
Maybe just a short. What do investors need to know about the gaming industry? They need to know it's a large market. Yeah, this is a large market and it is less susceptible to the risks that affect physical businesses. Now, let me backtrack. I'm not saying digital businesses are less risky. I mean, we all know what happened to OPay based on government regulation. Yeah. So while I would say it's a large market, there's a lot of optimism. It's a budding industry because there are really no big players like that. So any investor coming in right now will basically be like the first mover. There's a risk of the government regulation. I mean, apparently anything that seems to get value in the country is targeted for tax and regulation. So I think investors need to do their homework, because while it can be very rewarding, it can be a lot of investment with very little output at the end of the day. At the moment, that's not the case. It depends on what strategy the investor is using. A lot of people that come into business in Nigeria have a short to mid-term strategy. If it's for the long term, I can't really be quoted on if it's very profitable, because anything can happen in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. Shina, would you like to go next?
Myself?
Yes.
Yeah, so again, like Casey said, Paul rather, there is a massive opportunity in the market. So again, it depends on their particular sort of interest. They might be interested in digital games, for instance, and not board games. So their interest really would determine. But again, the market is there. I think they should look at how localized the game is. So Nigeria is a bit of very traditional country. So you see what's actually thriving in Nigeria is completely different from what's thriving in other parts of the world. See how BBN Nigeria is making waves, yeah. And even though it's sort of, I think they say it originated from South Africa, and then but while in Nigeria is making so much wave. So I think they should look at how localized the content of those games are. So because I think the more localized, the better penetration to the customers, to the audience in the industry. Yeah, and then I think they should be prepared for a long time, yeah. So I think Nigeria is not a sort of a quick cash out market. You have to be a bit patient, resistant, and then yeah, time will now tell.
Okay, thank you very much. Time will tell. Casey, would you like to go?
Yeah, just to echo what Shina and Paul already said, but from the game tabletop perspective, yes, there is a lot of opportunities for investors. People usually try to think, but there are mobile games. I love mobile games. I play PES a lot. I love PES. But it's not just the advent of technology actually made tabletop games even more needful. People spend a lot of time on phones, on gadgets, and there's that time that you just want to hang out with friends. And that's the beauty of tabletop games. All games are malleable, like they can be formed to anything. So if you want sports game, you see a sports. If you want dexterity games, you can see that. If you want party game to just shout, you don't want to think.
Yeah.
There are things like that. Just like concentration. In Big Brother's house. Games, and that provides the opportunity. What games have been there from BCs, and they are still here. And up to today, parents still pay tutors to teach their children chess. People still play Ludo on the street. People still play draft. The opportunities are there. It's just like Shina said, for people to come in and then be patient enough. But if it's about people buying games, people are trying to buy games. And when people come into the cafe, people want to buy games. People are constantly asking for foreign games that they can't have access to. So the opportunities are there.
Okay.
And just to put it out there, Scrabble, Nigeria is leading globally on Scrabble game, as in globally. So we have Wellington won 2015. He was the number one in the world. And yeah, Buhari gave him a handshake. It's all over there. And Nigeria has been leading in the African Scrabble competition, like back to back. I think there's one they did this year. They couldn't do it because of pandemic, obviously. I think Nigeria did well. I'm not sure it was first, first or second, one of those two. So making it bigger and creating that awareness.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll take one more question before we round up. It says, Paul mentioned government regulation. From your experience, does Nigeria's industry experience the same scrutiny from regulators as other creative sectors?
I think if I
directed at Paul.
Okay.
Or anyone can answer.
Yes, please go first. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I really why I wanted to jump into that is because this sort of questions, this particular one sort of came up also when we did the symposium for Lagos Games Festival in regards to regulation. So I think first is the government don't understand the gaming industry yet. So there is no regulation or some sort of, because they currently don't understand. So pretty much like the fintech or any sort of a startup that is sort of facing out now. There is no regulation, but I think in the near future, something, especially from our side, for instance, we are working on creating the Gaming Federation of Nigeria, sort of a thing, in partnership with the Ministry of Tourism, Art and Culture, and then of course, Sports Commission as well. But generally, I would say there's nothing yet in place. So any sort of developer or business individual that is in the industry for now, I think you're just probably cashing out, I guess, until something probably come in place. At least that's my understanding so far. Yeah, I would let Paul come through.
Okay, thank you, Shina. I'm of the same, agreement in that they don't understand the industry and there's very little regulation at the moment. But also my perspective being that it's not valuable enough to be noticed yet, okay? Because like I said, tax is the issue. Government would tax whatever they can. Right now, there's no balance sheet somewhere saying this is what KC's gaming, whatever makes. So when that starts to be the case, like how at some point Google was just a garage company or Apple, they were under the radar. That's basically where I believe Nigerian gaming is. And then we must ask ourselves, who are we calling government? Is it just the federal, state, and local? Because every single police officer that breaks up my game jam because he knows that youths are gathered here and collect money to allow me to do what I'm doing, he's regulating my movement. He's actually taxing me. So government, we have to look at what we mean by government. If we're talking about organized government as in federal or state, they are not really taxing the gaming industry yet. But if we're talking about agents of government, yes, they tax us every day. They tax us everywhere. And they actually prevent you from working. When people ask you for your laptop receipts and you have to pay for it, as a gamer, that's tax, that's regulation. So even though there's no organized regulation right now, there's a lot of regulation on a very small scale, which I think is having an effect on the industry.
Thank you for that contribution, because obviously we have a long way to go and there's a lot to be done to help push the industry forward. And thank you for sharing your insights with us based on your experience.
Just to add, sorry, Dominic, before you move on to...
No, please go, carry on.
Quite true about there are no regulations, because I think the word game is most times in the government's book, when you say game, it's mostly betting. So that's where the most regulation stops. So like there are, when we wanted to start, because we had all of those conversations, we are giving, hey, when we went, we wanted to know what are the permissions, because we were about setting a cafe, and cafe is a substance, people come in and go out. We found out a lot of stuff. Like we don't sell refreshments because we don't want some certain regulations. So we prefer people come in, you bring your own food, but we don't sell. So it reduces some regulations because they don't. Is this a casino? Because if it's a casino, there's big money that's supposed to pay. So, but we don't bet. We do not bet. So they are. Making them also recognize that it's massive. It comes with responsibilities from the part of the government on our own. So it's not really stress. It's stressful. For instance, wanted to bring in games into the cafe, over 300 games, and we were not going to sell them. So we are not selling them. And this is something that would expose a lot of people, could even create, it's actually creating jobs for Nigerians. And then these people were, we did a board game drive. And then these people kindly sent in games, and it was a whole madness for those games to arrive. They were in Lagos for over 2 months and in Abuja for over a month. I was running around the whole of Abuja, running through Ministry of Finance, trying to get different forms that will allow this thing pass. Because what we were charged at the custom was even more than the worth of the whole games. So I think because there was no regulation, there is no responsibility. When I introduced myself as a board game designer to any government work, formed and filled, it's a whole conversation. Sometimes I like it, but sometimes I'm not in the mood to have those conversations, right? Even when I tried to renew my international passport, I said, board game designer, that's my occupation. He said, no, sir, you tell us what you do. And I had to start showing my phone links and trying to explain, oh, you know Mancala, those kind of, and I tried to know Ludo. So I think, yeah, we should have these conversations. In the past, we brought it up to try something like an association, to explain these things to the government. I think that was one of the things Nollywood kept doing. Nollywood kept trying to form different associations. Some would, achieve a certain goal and then break off. Other starts and continues and break up. But it's those same people or new passionate people coming on with new ideas, new skills. But it's a conversation we should start having so that they recognize us. And I remember when FG had to put in billions into Nollywood and they had to bring in the best cameras. And now Nollywood is trying a lot from cinemas and all. So I think if that happens, they need to recognize us. Once that regulation comes, yes, we'll pay those things they want to pay, but we're going to benefit even much more because now we could do conventions and it's easier to do convention. It's too much work that each time we are trying to explain what we are doing. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. The government should definitely, put in support to try and support the industry. Yes.
Yes, so we need government to come and support this industry.
Okay, Paul had to leave us quickly. He had an emergency to attend to. All right, I think we're taking our last question. Thank you so much for answering. I have one more question and then we can round up. So, based on your experience in the industry and what you've seen, the opportunities, the challenges, what do you think the future holds for the game industry in Nigeria? Like, where do you see us going a few years from now? 5 years.
Is that for me or for
both of you? Anyone can go for it.
I think personally the industry is bright, so which is obviously why my company, we are taking a huge bet on it. So the industry, and I think wasn't a few days ago I saw an ad, it wasn't from EcoBank, so they've started including gaming as the sort of a startup idea. So it's like usually the traditional sector is fintech, agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think recently I saw, was it not gaming? So when I saw that, I was like, this is a good start. So I think they've started to recognize it. Personally, from our company, so the way we are trying to obviously approach it is how brands can sort of take advantage of experience, because gaming is an experience, and use that to connect to the audience, which are the customers. So I think if we follow through that model, slowly they'll start investing in that industry. We know quite a few brands that really want to support with sponsorship, and when it comes to gaming, so I think it's just a matter of time. Just like Casey said, it's pretty much like Nollywood. So every industry in Nigeria, the government is not aware. I shouldn't be saying this on air, but it's just oil and gas, yeah? So every Nollywood started and broke that sort of
recently good.
Exactly. Okay, well, also as well. So same with the music industry. So those guys had to sort of pass through a lot of challenges before the industry starts thriving. So I think that would probably be the same case for the gaming industry. It will take a while, but I think it's a good bet and a sort of a strong prospect in the future.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Shina. Just to add a couple, I totally agree with you. Like in the past, from 2018, personally, I've noticed at least 7 new game nights that have started just from 2018. And I remember in 2016, I would search the whole social media, I would type hashtag, type keywords, type games, and it was hard. But now it's NIBCARD that I attended, and it's still thriving. It's since 2016, it's still thriving. day before yesterday, someone came up to me and said he wants to open a game cafe. And then I got another WhatsApp message from someone that wants to open a game cafe, and they were asking, okay, what should we do and all. And from December till now, we've provided a service for 2 designers who have made 4 different board games. That means, so we have 4 new different games, apart from the ones we design. And currently, there are about 4 on the pipeline where illustrators are currently designing these games. So it's growing, and with new content, because one game means new content. So with new games, that means the value chain will keep growing. And it's already evident that a lot of designers coming. So these designers will bring new games. So that was why we talked about access to be able to manufacture them. So what we do is we try to, because these are things that I could not have access to when I started, but we try to bring in tokens that we can make here in Nigeria. The ones we can make here in Nigeria, capitals in Nigeria do them themselves. But more than 6-sided dice. So we have 3-sided dice. We have a side that is just 3-sided, not the normal Ludo that is 6-sided. We have 8-sided. We have 12-sided. We have up to we have customized. So people can easily have access to that. So we have this board, you have cards, and you become conversant with the measurement in industry. So there's a normal Euro card, there's a normal American card. They are just different languages. So because we are doing this, other people are also seeing now designers will design new games, and which means more content providers will come in. So the industry is growing. Last year, the convention we were about 3 different designers. The next convention we'll probably do this year, let me not say anything. The next convention will come together. I'm sure that there will be more designers, because people are designing games. So the opportunity is massive. And schools have started using this schools in Nigeria have started using games in their schools. So since 2016, I know we have done over 6,000 games that schools are using in schools. I'm not talking about Montessori schools. So schools are using this. We had one that was used to promote awareness, SDGs, used to raise awareness on the SDGs for secondary school children. We also just concluded one with IOM on migration. So schools are started adapting board games in teaching. And Nigeria provides that opportunity. Let's be very, very real. It's going to take some more years before Nigerian schools to have, that computerized classroom. It's going to take a while, let's be honest. And these are where games can come in. And some of the games are things that once you have it, if it goes bad, you can recreate your own immediately. Or you can even play it just like concentration. You don't need a card. You can just start creating it and you start playing. So, and this thing adds value to learning. So the opportunity is massive. It's like I say, it's malleable. You can use it for anything. And because you can use it for anything, then people must buy it.
Right. Thank you very much. In summary, the future sounds optimistic.
I am.
That's a great one.
Always.
It sounds optimistic about the future, and we hope for the best.
Definitely.
Thank you very much for joining us today. We thank you so much for your contributions. I know we'd also like to support you. So if you can plug in your handles to your business, your social media handles, your website, your Facebook, whatever, you can just type it in the comments so that, we can visit you, see what you do, see your products, support you, any way we can. You can just drop your handles in the comment section, or you can say it out loud. That's okay.
Yeah.
NIBCARD. Okay. NIBCARD games. Is that for Instagram or Twitter? Or?
Everyone.
Okay.
Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
And that's our website.
Okay. Sadly, Paul had to leave us. I'd like to say a big thank you to the Inter-Africa organization and the Goethe-Institut for making this panel possible. Thank you to our very talented panelists for joining us today and sharing insights. It's been great having you.
Yeah, thank you. And we also thank you for the opportunity of, should I say, giving us a voice. I think we need more voice. Pretty much like
Exactly.
Memud and like Casey said, the more we do, the more we say it out there, the better. And thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
So we have at Lagos Game Festival. That's a handle too for anyone who's wondering. All right. Hopefully Paul can. Well, thank you, Paul, for joining us. Had to leave earlier.
All right.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
All right then. Bye.
Bye.